Dear students, I am Ajabin. I am here with you with the 10th program of the Intermediate Biology series. This program has been structured to explain to you the environment, the basic components of the environment and their interaction, and the human impacts upon the natural environment. But first, I should like to explain to you that what is ecology. Ecology is the branch of biology that deals with the environment and the components of the environment in relation with the living organisms.
In 1866, German biologist and evolutionist Ernest Haeckel used the word ecology to denote the study of organisms and their interaction with the world around them. The word is based on two Greek words, oikos meaning household and logos meaning study. Ecology is the branch of biology which studies the relationships between living things within the species and between the different species and between them and environment. A person doing research in the field of ecology is known as an ecologist whose research may extend from field studies to experimental studies in laboratory, from population studies to physical composition of rocks, soil, air and water, and directly applied to our daily life in the form of observations of common effects on our natural environment.
In order to understand ecology, we must first understand the basic components of our environment.
With respect to a specific organism, everything around him, including him, is termed as an environment. Our environment consists of two main components, biotic and abiotic components. Bios means life, therefore, as the name suggests, biotic components include all living organisms, whereas abiotic components include non-living components. Biotic components include producers, consumers, and decomposers. The producers, as the name indicates, are the organisms that can produce living matter. And in nature, only plants can produce new living material from non-living material. For this reason, they are called autotrophs. They use their pigments such as chlorophyll, the green pigments found in the leaves, to capture light energy, which they then turn into stored chemical energy to fuel their life processes. This two-stage process is called photosynthesis. Entire life on our planet depends upon the products of photosynthesis. Consumers are those organisms that consume the food prepared by producers. They can be primary, secondary, and tertiary consumers. Primary consumers directly feed upon the plants and are called herbivores. Secondary consumers feed upon primary consumers, for example, carnivores. Tertiary consumers feed upon the secondary consumers, for example, primary predators. Those organisms that feed upon the dead organic matter of plant and animals are called as decomposers, for example, microorganisms, fungi, etc.
An ecosystem is fueled by energy, and this energy comes from the sun. The plants, being the only organisms to fix this light energy in organic state, form the first level of energy transfer in an ecosystem. Ecologists refer to these stages as the trophic levels. The energy is transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level. As the plants, when being eaten by animals, the energy is transferred from the producer level to the consumer level, where it is stored in the form of flesh, while some of this energy is also lost to the atmosphere during the transfer.
Plants lie on the first trophic level. Animals feeding upon them form the second trophic level, while carnivores establish the third trophic level and decomposers establish the fourth trophic level. These trophic levels in an ecosystem can be represented by a pyramid. The number of levels varies, but because energy is limited, there are energy losses at each level. Energy is lost in space as heat.
Energy is transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level when one organism feeds upon the other organism. This continuous process of feeding and being fed by other organisms forms a food chain, while different interacting food chains produce a food web.
It is very simple to understand a food chain. You have seen some caterpillar eating leaves of green plants. Then it is eaten by a hen. This hen is eaten by many predators such as cat, humans, etc. The green plants, caterpillar, hen and humans establish a food chain, while green plants, caterpillar, hen and cat establish another food chain. You may have also seen that the green leaves are eaten by caterpillar. Then this caterpillar may be eaten by some bird instead of hen. This bird, for example sparrow, may be eaten by some hawk. Green leaves, caterpillar, sparrow and hawk establish another food chain, and this food chain linking with previous food chain at the caterpillar link establish a simple food web. Similarly, there may be very complex links between different food chains that create complex food web.
These biotic factors, besides interacting with one another, also interact with the abiotic factors, which include air, water, light, and soil.
It is a narrow band of air, water and soil with light source from sun that provides the life-sustaining characteristics called as biosphere. Air is a gaseous mixture of various gases in specific quantities, such as hydrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, etc. Air provides oxygen to all aerobically respiring organisms. Water constitutes about 70% of all the matter in living organisms by weight. Plants need water in order to take in dissolved minerals through their roots. It is hence critical for both physiological and chemical processes of life. Soil is a reservoir for a large number of nutrients that are essential for life. They are micronutrients, for example zinc, iron, etc., which are required in small quantities, and macronutrients which are required in large quantities, for example hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus and calcium. Light is the basic source of energy which is incorporated in plants in the form of organic matter by the process of photosynthesis.
In a biosphere, the energy flows in and out regularly, whereas the chemicals that are essential for life processes, for example water, nutrients, they are limited. Therefore, they have to be continuously recycled.
The nutrients are continuously recycled into the nature by different nutrient cycles. There are two types of nutrient cycles: gaseous nutrient cycles and sedimentary nutrient cycles, called as biogeochemical cycles. The nutrient cycle, in case when major reservoir of the nutrient is the air, the cycle is called gaseous cycle as nitrogen cycle, while when major reservoir of nutrient is in the soil, the cycle is called sedimentary cycle, that is sulfur cycle. Nitrogen cycle involves many steps of nitrogen fixation into nitrates, nitrites and ammonia, and defixation back into free molecular nitrogen of air. Nitrogen fixation primarily occurs due to electric thunder and rains, Then further fixation into complex compounds occur both biologically and non-biologically. Thus, formed compounds are utilized by plants and animals via plants. Denitrification occurs both biologically and non-biologically to liberate gaseous nitrogen from nitrogen components found in organic wastes and dead organisms. Among other important nutrients, carbon forms an integral part of cell structure and is continuously being passed through sedimentary and gaseous phases. Every ecosystem depends on some energy source, natural or artificial. Every ecosystem which depends upon sun's energy is known as natural ecosystem, while an ecosystem which depends on some artificial source is known as an artificial ecosystem.
The interactions of abiotic factors produces the specific climate of an area. The life zones of interrelated plants and animals is determined by the climate. This specific set of climatic conditions, which is the home to specific kind of living organisms in a major division of the world, is called as a biome.
There are 7 major biomes in the world: tundra, tropical rainforest, temperate deciduous forest, savanna, grassland, cool desert, desert.
Today, the biodiversity of the biomes is at great risk due to only one species, the humans. Ecologically, the early humans were like any other species, being a natural part of the food web and at being lower trophic levels. But today, due to the advanced survival techniques, we lie at the highest trophic level. And because of the fast-growing population, these impacts are becoming louder day by day.
Since the Industrial Revolution of the 18th and 19th centuries, human impacts on the environment have been enormous. The burning of fossil fuels have polluted large areas and significantly altered the atmosphere. Industrial technology has brought millions of people from rural areas into new towns and cities. The consequences of these rapid changes could not be predicted. Now, the science of ecology has made it possible to assess how human actions affect the environment and looking for ways to reduce and repair the damage done by changes like urbanization, industrialization, and rapid deforestation.
Among a large number of negative changes on our environment, one such is global warming. But first, we need to understand the greenhouse effect.
A blanket of gases that form the atmosphere surrounds Earth. They reflect back a few quantity, pass on and absorb some quantity of solar radiation falling on the surface of the Earth. They are responsible for maintaining a stable temperature on the surface of Earth. Otherwise, Earth will be very cold. We all have heard that the temperature of our Earth is increasing year by year. Scientists explain this rise in terms of carbon dioxide accumulation in the environment. The radiations of sun striking our Earth are reflected back, surpassing the needs, but higher contents of carbon dioxide in our environment prohibit this reflection of radiation as they create a blanket around the Earth. When radiations are not reflected back, this causes a rise in temperature known as global warming. The consequences of global warming may be much disastrous, as due to rise in temperature, ice on poles and permanent glaciers is melting, which is causing a rise in sea level. Due to rise in sea level, many islands and coastal cities may be at the edge of submergence. Global warming, compounded with deforestation, becomes very severe. When fossil fuel is burnt in houses or vehicles, it produces carbon dioxide, methane. These gases trap the heat entering the atmosphere of Earth and do not let it to escape, causing a rise in the temperature.
Yet another negative human impact, specifically on vegetation, is the acid rain.
Apart from carbon dioxide, fossil fuels also emit sulfur, nitrogen and phosphorus oxide gases which travel into the atmosphere. Since these gases are water-soluble and generate acids when dissolved in water, so they get dissolved into water vapors of the atmosphere and come down with rain. It can inhibit the tree growth and reduce activity of nitrogen-fixing bacteria, and can make toxic aluminium available to fish.
Solutions to put a check on the acid rain have been devised, and several governments are working in this direction.
It is obvious that these gases are water-soluble, so all chimneys emitting these gases must be showered by water. The acid produced may be used commercially. Another way to reduce the acid gas emission is by application of basic chemistry. The best way, however, is to stop burning fossil fuel, use solar, wind and water energy instead of fossil fuel, but this all needs much scientific research, so other preventive measures can be applied.
Another negative impact of humans on our environment is the destruction of the ozone layer. The ozone layer is composed of triatomic oxygen molecules which is present in the Earth's outer atmosphere. One reason for the thinning of ozone layer is the presence of chlorofluorocarbons in our atmosphere. The chlorofluorocarbons are the cooling agents that are used in refrigerators, air conditioners. They have a negative impact on the ozone layer. Now I shall explain to you that how do these gases destroy the ozone layer.
The atoms of oxygen in triatomic molecule of ozone continually associate and dissociate with each other into molecular form, but when there are chlorofluorocarbons in the upper atmosphere, they become bound with atomic radical oxygen and prevent reassociation of this atom into a triatomic molecule of ozone. Thus, due to ozone depletion, the ultraviolet radiations reach the Earth, causing gene mutation and skin cancer of humans and leaf malfunctioning of plants. The question that comes to mind is how to prevent the depletion or destruction of ozone layer. First of all, chlorofluorocarbons must be replaced with less harmful materials or chemicals or coolants. Aerosols, which use chlorofluorocarbons, now have been modified to less harmful chemicals, but in refrigerators and air conditioners, they are still being used continuously. Land pollution too is a result of human activities. Nowadays, plastic shopper bags have become a necessity of our daily life. We use them once and throw them away, and heaps of shopper bags can be observed scattered everywhere in the streets of our towns.
Before we discuss any more of the environmental pollution, let's first explain the difference between the biologically degradable and non-degradable wastes.
Everything which is wasted is of two types: the wastes that are biologically degradable, and those wastes which are biologically non-degradable. Biologically degradable wastes are recycled into nature by nutrient cycles, while biologically non-degradable wastes can't be recycled into food chains. Thus, they reduce soil fertility and consequently cause many other disastrous effects. The wastes of hospitals are dangerous in two ways, as majority of them is biologically non-degradable and carrier of many germs.
Another kind of pollution created by humans is the water pollution. Can be freshwater, can be marine. This too has caused a dilemma in many countries, including Pakistan.
Many industries throw their wastewater with chemicals in it directly into rivers, which is the greatest risk to aquatic life. You may have observed that aquatic population of such rivers has been reduced drastically. Many countries dump their atomic and chemical wastes into the oceans, which cause oceanic pollution. Almost whole transport of petroleum is carried out through oceans, and many times it has happened that some ship got wrecked and whole of the petroleum in it swayed into the ocean.
There are many more environmental pollutions than the ones that have been described here in this program. When we view these, we understand that the future of our generations is at great risk. We must all make global efforts in order to combat these problems. We should adopt modern scientific techniques to dispose biological and non-biological wastes. And we should do research in order to convert the non-degradable wastes into the degradable wastes. All these measures should be effective and almost immediate. Otherwise, the future scenario of our globe is dark and dismal. We should all perform our duties well, because our environment is the trust of our future generations. Allah Hafiz.